We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 352. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, the undisputed scholar himself, Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing very well, considering people have been calling me out on being someone who is just calling out that he's losing his faith in wrestling on last week's show. But I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
Hey, we all got to take that trip down the road sometime, given the ebb and flow of the wrestling world. But speaking of the ebb and flow of the wrestling world, also joining us this week, the Scholars Wrestling Party champion and the current holder of the Scholars in the Bank briefcase, the one and only Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, how are you doing this evening, sir?
It has been a long day of moving from Palace of Wisdom to Palace of Wisdom, but I'm doing good. Still up and awake. Still ready to get at it with some weekly wrestling talk.
Brilliant.
I just have to call out, you're Mr. Skull in the Bank. I will give you that. And I'm going to say congratulations on holding both the party championship. What?
I didn't know if you were calling me out on not having the briefcase present.
You'll have the briefcase present next week when we all get together for the SummerSlam party. So, but yes, I am just like, you're Mr. Skull in the Bank. You're not the holder yet. You will be. You will be.
You will be.
Oh yeah, I will.
But yes, but right before we get into this week in the world of professional wrestling, let's kick things off with the traditional way, because we do have a little bit of business we need to tend to in a segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed, we shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain and realize, oh wait, we're watching AEW Rampage while we're recording this show, and check in on a little Backstage News. I got to fill in for my tag team partner.
Not sure who is supposed to say it first, man.
I got to fill in for my Scholars tag team partner this week.
Hey, we'll all be coming back together sooner rather than later. But anyway, on a somewhat more serious note, I could not let this show go any further without at least leaving a little bit of comment on the passing of a legend in professional wrestling, the one and only Dominik Dinucci. And Fool, I'm gonna have to put you on blast for just a quick second, because when I mentioned that he had passed, your first response was, "Who's Dominik Dinucci?" Well,
that wasn't me, that was Charlie, but I'm also in that camp as well.
Okay, you both said it then. Okay.
A whole 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, whole 5 minutes.
Apparently it's been Jeff's whole storyline this couple of months, just trying to single me out for some reason, from not winning the Scholars Championship to
what
now.
you did.
Apparently I don't.
Well, in all seriousness, I'm sure if you guys are saying this about Dominik Dinucci, who the heck is he? Then I'm sure that there are plenty of other people out there who don't know who he is. But for me personally, he's not only just a veteran of the business for many, many years, but for me personally, he was also the trainer of Mick Foley, my favorite wrestler of all time. And he was more than noteworthy in that regard alone. And when it comes to that, Dominik Dinucci, I'm sure depending on who you talk to of wrestling fans of a certain age, they might be able to tell you some specific memories or what of Dominik Dinucci, or what exactly he meant to them or the wrestling business at large. For me personally, there's one thing very specific that comes to mind. Back when I was in college, if you'll spare me a little bit of an anecdote, I had the brief chance to attend a wrestling school to learn the art for myself, which unfortunately got shut down mere weeks before I was ready to go and start training myself. And I always had this in mind that if I had the chance, if I had to go anywhere in the world to train with anybody, I would want to follow in the footsteps of my favorite wrestler of all time and go train with Dominik Dinucci if I ever had the chance. As time went on, though, and I started, running drills and learning from other people in the wrestling world, things started happening. Things that really sort of put me off and away from that path. First and most poignant of all was I realized that after getting some reps in about people who were willing to pick up and train me, sort of piecemeal it on the road. I would help out with setting up house shows and just helping out with backstage and setting up the ring and taking it down and all that stuff, that sort of thing. And then during the other times, I would have the chance to, get in the ring a little bit. Some people would show me the ropes, run drills with me, show me how to lock up, chain a little bit, take bumps, all that stuff. So after doing a little bit of that and really getting a good, solid, tactile feel for what I was going to need to really get at the point where I would be satisfied, I realized it probably wasn't worth it. Money was tight at the time. Again, I was a broke college student. And I realized that, it's probably not going to happen, at least not right now. It's too many risks for not really a lot of reward. So I sort of put that on the back burner for some time. Then in my mind, I was like, okay, if there's any shot at all of following in my hero's footsteps, of even wrestling him even on an indie show, just wanting to train with Dominik Dinucci, wanting to get a match, even on the independent scene with Mick Foley at some point, that was going to be like the pinnacle, my goal of my wrestling career if I ever pursued it. And over time, as I got older, as things started happening, I started taking some shots of, okay, this happened. It's further me getting into a wrestling ring and actually becoming a professional is less than ever. Me stepping away due to cautious with injury and just cost of schooling, that was a major hit. But after Mick Foley retiring, that was another shot in that just like, okay, it's not going to happen. The dream is gone. Now, with the passing of Dominik Dinucci, I feel like that dream of my youth, so to speak, is finally final, and it's not something I will ever pursue ever again. It's solidified in my mind now. And to me, Dominik Dinucci means someone who is an educator, someone who is a progenitor of everything I love about professional wrestling, even though I never had the chance to see him wrestle myself in person. I know it's a little bit of a ranty anecdote, but does any of this make sense to either of you guys?
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah. Has Mick Foley posted anything about it?
I did not see him post anything. Knowing him, I'd be shocked if he didn't. I just personally have not gotten the chance to see anything that he posted or did not post.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, not everyone may know him, but he's one of those figures who, for me personally, has a lot of personal significance, and the wrestling world is much lesser without him. So Godspeed to you, Dominik Dinucci. Thank you for all you've done in the ring and to educate all of my favorite wrestlers, and just really bring for the role you played in bringing my love of professional wrestling to life. Sir, thank you. I hope to see you down the road again one day. All that being said, let's talk about this week in professional wrestling, starting with Monday Night Raw. Okay, let's move on. Now we're moving on to the more important things. We've got NXT. We've got, first and foremost, at least for me, once again, it's officially confirmed for TakeOver, the rematch, LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes for the career of Ted DiBiase. If Cameron Grimes loses, now he takes over as LA Knight's butler. Thoughts from the Undisputed Scholar and Mr. Scholar in the Bank?
As interesting as it would be to see them just have Ted DiBiase as someone else's butler, just continuing the more downgrade, like feeling of just what WWE does to its legends. I don't think it's going to happen. It's Ted DiBiase, for God's sake. It's just a way to give Cameron Grimes the $1 million championship and just to have that feel good moment at Takeover. What was it? Takeover 36 now?
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, it was I will say it was a very, other than that, it was actually a very disappointing NXT for me this week. I just remember watching it and I just was thinking, my God, that this felt like a WWE main roster show. And knowing what's been going, reading what's been going on backstage and all that, it's not at all surprising and honestly kind of disappointing. Shocker, WWE disappointing me. Story of the year right now.
Well, I will say though that it's still, at least for the moment, still feels like NXT to me. Especially with the 2 out of 3 falls at Takeover booked for Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, which, given the rumors of what's could or could not be with Adam Cole, I think this is going to be one of the more unpredictable matches on the card right now. Charlie, I know that you're sort of the most outspoken Adam Cole fan out of all of us. Let's get some feedback from you. What do you make of all these rumors and scuttlebutt and hearsay with Adam Cole, and what do you think the implications are of this 2 out of 3 falls match for both Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly?
Adam Cole could just be another one of the wrestlers that wait till the last moment to sign the dotted line, so to speak, and could just be holding off for as good of a deal as he can get with NXT. I don't see it as him being miserable where he is, but on the other hand, I do see him wanting to explore other places, especially where his significant other currently is. And it could go either way, but the way that I see it is his decision's already made up and he's just going to wait till last second to let that unfold.
Is anyone else disappointed that the fact that the 2 out of 3 falls stipulations are the exact same stipulations of Cole and Johnny Gargano at NXT Toronto, Takeover Toronto?
I'll be honest, I did not. I did not for a couple reasons. First of all, being I didn't notice it. And number two,
the exact same matches, the exact same order.
But then again, with a match type like this, you can have the same exact stipulation, but depending on the players involved, you can execute that match any number of different ways. So I don't necessarily count that as a negative. Does that make sense?
I get it. I just wish they would do something else. It's just with some people just noticing, it was like, wait a second. An Adam Cole 2 out of 3 falls match, that's a singles, a street fight, and a cage match.
I want to see a 2 out of 3 falls match.
I've been here before.
The third fall.
Something very familiar about all this.
All right. Well, on that note, as you were implying earlier, this week there's been a whole lot of hearsay and rumors about NXT and supposedly Triple H being blamed for the failure of NXT against AEW during the Wednesday night war or whatever you want to call it. And then supposedly there's rumor is that NXT is seen internally in the company as a developmental territory, as a place where you have to get the indie trained out of you, quote unquote. And then when you move to the main roster, you get the NXT trained out of you. There was a lot to be said about that, and that lot that was said about that. Fool Charlie, what do you make of all this talk? Is it all a bunch of nonsense, or is there some truth to it, do you think?
Well, it's more of just basically Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, Nick Khan, and Vince McMahon just wanting to basically completely rebrand NXT to kind of what OVW was a few years ago. Just they want to drop the indie darling views of it to, or as some people say, take out the midgets so we can get big guys that could main event WrestleMania. That's the big discussion going on. And the 13 cuts that happened last week were complete, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels were not involved at all with those decisions. It all came from Team McMahon, which just continues more to be that, as I put it, the real poison of WWE.
It's a good way of putting it.
Like it's going to have a new logo, it's going to have a new feel, and
It's got a new logo.
Yeah, they're going to have another one because it's going to be the Vince McMahon. It's going to be Vince McMahon's NXT. And like I said, it definitely felt like a WWE main roster show this week. It actually really bummed me out. I was like, NXT was the one thing that I was really holding on to be like, please just don't hurt it. Don't hurt it. It's a sweet baby. It needs to be nurtured. And now Vince McMahon's coming in and ready to stomp on its neck and finish it off.
Don't kick the baby.
Kick the baby.
There's a dated reference. Oh boy. Something for the 90s kids. But
hey, South Park is still going strong, man.
It is. It's the new Simpsons, except it doesn't suck yet.
Some new Simpsons are good.
Yeah, but by and large, I feel like South Park, in terms of like Franken shows or whatever, I feel like South Park has aged a lot better.
As we all glance over to Britsburg.
Yeah, because now Britt Baker is on the TV. Things are right, because that's it's the only woman that's really in AEW that's being booked truly correctly on this.
Yes, in case you're not checking your calendars at the moment, yes, we are recording this on Friday night, and this is the debut of Rampage, and I believe Scholar Charlie and Scholar Tarek have AEW Rampage on in the background there. We're responding to it in real time. And on that note, let's transition to AEW as a whole, starting with Dynamite.
Dynamite kick.
AEW Dynamite kick. Thank you, fool. And we had, first off, we had elsewhere on the card, we had Darby Allin beating some guy named Daniel Garcia. But I had to bring this up because I needed to comment on that crazy new Titantron of Darby Allin. I love this thing.
Go skateboarding?
Yeah, and it was done by Rooster Teeth of all places. I'm not sure if any of you guys are even into Rooster Teeth or know who they are, but
I have no idea.
Yeah, they are the guys who basically bought out Screw Attack and Death Battle, and they've done shows like Red versus Blue and Ruby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think any of you have ever seen a thing of any episodes of Ruby or anything like that, but I think the show is fun. At least when Monty Ohm was still doing it. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Rooster Teeth Animation did a new Titantron for Darby Allin. I just think it's the sickest thing ever. And I think, well, really, after, again, this might be a little side thing, but after WWE sort of went all mainstream or streamlined their Titantrons, I feel like AEW, at least in this case, has really stepped up their game, and it's given them a much more distinct look or presentation, at least for Darby Allin.
I was gonna say, I think it's just for Darby. I don't. At least
even if it is just for Darby, even if it is just for Darby, I feel like it's definitely a step in the right direction to sort of individualize all these people. And it's plainly obvious that they're investing a lot in the Darby Allin alone.
Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still not a fan. I seriously, guys, I'm really trying to see the appeal of Darby Allin. I'm trying my hardest. I just can't.
Awesome.
I can't.
He's edgy, hot topic skater boy.
Just seeing him now in that, like, up in the rafters with Sting, I'm just like, dude, stop it. It's not working for me. And I love Sting. And it's just like, I can't. I just don't see it.
It's okay. Just wait for the inevitable feud with CM Punk. It'll be great. I promise.
I hope that'll probably if that makes me a fan of him, good. And I'll be glad to get on the show and say, okay, now I'm officially a fan of Darby Allin. I'm just not there yet. And like, it's nothing against the guy. He's a hard worker. I'm just not a fan of the character.
That's okay. Different strokes for different folks. But elsewhere, speaking of strokes, we also have the fourth labor of Jericho. We've got Jericho defeating Wardlow and finally gaining access to the big fight between him and MJF. No theme music and no Judas effect.
I can't wait for the audience are going to do it for him.
You know what? That's totally what they're going to do, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no argument.
I'm sorry, but never put Wardlow in the main event again. If I want to see everybody do 10 power bombs, I'll go rewatch Psycho Sid matches.
I will say of the 4 matches, yeah, this one was definitely the weakest.
This was god awful. This was god awful.
I will
like to think that Jericho's the one in there calling the match, but wow.
I will say that I feel like there's absolutely I've been hearing a lot of responses from this match. I feel like there's absolutely no like lukewarm or middle ground on this. Either
it was
you
awful.
Absolutely really got into the idea of Wardlow being the bodyguard, the 4th challenge before the final boss of MJF, or you absolutely hated it and you felt like the other labors of Jericho had way more oomph to them.
Yes.
He's Goro.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Loud near a wrestling ring after that match. It was awful.
Yeah, like at least the other labors of Jericho had, because of how rare they were and how unique and different they were, they had a lot more impact when they were announced and when the matches took place. Like, love it or hate it, Nick Gage showing up in AEW, that was a big deal. And that seemed like such a more brutal match. And it was like, whoa, Nick Gage was wrestling Jericho. Holy crap, he doesn't have to do that.
It's a big deal, yet you're the only person still talking about it.
Throw some punches and kicks or something before the German suplexes. Wardlow was powerbomb after powerbomb after powerbomb after fireball after fireball after fireball.
And that was the thing. Like, and that's the point I'm building up to. Like, Nick Gage had that wow factor. Juventud Guerrera, everyone was like, whoa, I can't believe he's back again. Didn't expect to see that. And then you get to step 4 and it's like more Wardlow and power bombs and
crap. Oh my god, no. It just was not good.
That's
what were your guys' thoughts? I've cursed the match enough.
I'll be right there with you. It was the week. I won't go as far as saying it was garbage, but it definitely was the weakest. It, like, to be fair, I'm kind of done with I've been done with the Pinnacle, Inner Circle, Jericho, MJF storyline. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, there are other things that are happening on the show that I'm actually more interested in than this. I do like the Juventud Guerrera match just for Jericho versus Juventud nostalgia purposes. I'm having a brain fart on what was the first match.
The chair, what's his face? Ty Dillinger.
Oh yeah, that explains why I forgot about it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I forgot about it too.
I didn't see it. That was the one that I didn't see.
You didn't miss much.
It doesn't really matter.
I will say, like, of all the like, I've already made it clear about how I felt about the Nick Gage match, so I don't really want to add more to that. Yeah, I guess the only match of this whole series is the Juventud Guerrera match, just because of, I guess, the nostalgia factor on it. Now I guess MJF is the Shang Tsung to whatever Mortal Kombat character Jericho is.
Johnny Cage.
You're gonna put him as Johnny Cage? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly isn't Liu
That's fair.
Kang.
Now I just want to see.
Bike-
I just want to see Jericho do the bicycle.
But what's to put this in terms of Jericho's new book, he has a history ranking and star rating for all of his matches. I could see him just go to his notebook backstage, write against Wardlow, 1 star. This match sucked.
Hey, you know what? As I know that I'm probably the only one who believes this out of all of us so far, but I feel like Jericho still deserves a whole lot more credit for his match with Nick Gage. Just for no other reason than it stuck out like a sore thumb. It was so unique. Let's be real, it's never going to happen again.
He took bumps you didn't think you would take also.
Yeah, and it showed a lot of the really good stuff that both men still have. And I know it's not for everyone, but I still enjoyed it, and it played its part in the overall story, if nothing else.
It's kind of weird that it like this is like no like it's surprising enough how actually this reference that I'm about to pull actually connects with Jericho very well. It actually did feel like the wrestler for me.
You know what? You're not wrong. You really aren't.
Not wrong. Oh wow.
This whole storyline kind of felt like a whole the wrestler kind of feel for me.
I applaud you for that. That's awesome.
And
like,
you know
it honestly just clicked on me now. If you like, for everyone's watching this video, just go back like maybe 20 seconds. You just see basically it connecting in my head. I'm just going.
And on that note, I do have a small scholar's quick talk for you, because you're not the first one to bring up this as a possibility ever since his Nick Gage match happened.
Just one.
But a lot of people have been saying, like, okay, is this some sort of Chris Jericho retirement tour? Is this like a wrestler thing where he's just going to be like, he's gearing up to hang up the boots? Or is this just another step in Jericho reinventing himself? I want to know what you think. Is this the steps leading up to a Chris Jericho retirement? Or is this just another step in his career and he's just trying to reinvent himself? Which one do you think?
Before I answer that, I will just say AEW knows how to book the hometown hero, giving Britt Baker the win.
I'm like Vince, who's like, sucks if it's your hometown, you're losing.
If it's your hometown, you're definitely losing. And Jeff should knows more about this than anyone, always predicting on the people who's like, with the argument, they are the hometown hero. And we all argue back to me, specifically me and Brian at the time. That's the exact reason why those people are going to lose. And guess what?
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Lies.
Have you gone soft on us, fool? Huh?
I ain't soft. I ain't SAWFT soft.
SAWFT. Wait, who's beating up
Wait,
Britt?
who's that?
Something is happening on
Who is
Rampage.
Someone is just beating up.
So I can't even.
Who is that?
I have no idea.
I don't know who that is. I feel like I should though. I don't know. Oh well, someone is
Oh, they weren't beating up Britt. They were beating up what's her face.
Oh, I still don't know who that is though.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll all find out come tomorrow morning anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we cut bait and we hang up for tonight, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, this is the end of Rampage.
Yeah.
It's that's right.
Oh,
it's only an hour.
Oh
Yeah, that's right. It's only an
Okay.
hour. I actually completely forgot about that too. All right, I'm turning off my TV. All right.
Anyway.
back to scholars.
On that happy note, let's take it
Oh
home.
wait, that's right for the podcast.
Oh yeah, hello.
But you're probably going to move to SmackDown, right?
Yes. Before we close out, let's talk about SmackDown.
Before we go to that, we're going to continue this AEW discussion because I want to make this perfectly.
It's over when Tarek says
I know it's already, it's happened. It's over with. We all, pretty much everyone saw it coming. I am still 150% not a fan of Christian being the first person to take a title off Kenny Omega.
I'll tell you what, I get where you're coming from. I totally do. But there's one specific reason that I'm okay with this potentially. And that is, this is the segue to get Christian off of AEW TV and make him a part of the Impact roster. That way, leaving enough space open, or at least more space, for the CM Punks and Daniel Bryans and Bryan Danielsons of the world.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Kenny's winning the title back. They're going to make it a winner take all for All Out, and Kenny's just going to win it back. So all in all, this title change was a complete and utter waste of time. Even if it's just to send Christian to Impact, which it doesn't raise any stock for Impact Wrestling. They're getting fucking Christian.
Well,
what a win!
I will say,
I just fell off my chair.
it's okay.
For people who are just like, who are now joining, like who haven't watched this show in the past, I have made it enormously clear I am not a fan of Christian Cage as a single star. I'm still convinced to this day even though he most likely will, the only time I could ever really see him joining the WWE Hall of Fame is if he's joined with Edge and Christian. As a single star, absolutely not. He's not worth it. Again, this isn't
Two-time world heavyweight champion.
And he's also the ECW heavyweight champion. That's worth everything. That is worth a lot of stock to be WWE ECW champion. Oh, so amazing.
At work, everybody.
Again, I'm just going to argue. Christian was the worst choice to have someone take a title, or in this case, 2 titles off Kenny Omega.
I guarantee you there's far worse choices that they could have made.
I don't even know how I really feel. Like, I feel like just AEW is just constantly just taking a shit all over Impact Wrestling. I've already said on the show many times in the past how it's really AEW that's really getting the benefit of this cross-promotional deal that they have.
I don't think that's ever been a question.
Oh, well, it's never been a question when it happened. It's still not a question now. Impact Wrestling is still just as irrelevant as it ever it's going to be. And I think it's even more saying, oh yeah, Christian's your champion. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I'd rather have Rich Swann as champion.
It's like SmackDown always shitting on Raw. It just happens.
Oh man.
Hey, are you done, fool?
I'm never
at least for 1 week.
I'm just gonna continue just saying how terrible a booking decision is. It's just for a short term waste of goddamn time. It just of all the people to be the first person to take a title off Kenny Omega while he's in his basically what are they calling him now? What's his big gimmick with him?
Belt collector?
The belt collector? Yeah. Is it belt collector?
I've heard him referred to that a couple times.
Pretty much the Thanos of the wrestling world. Christian should not be on the top 5. He shouldn't even be on the top 10 list of someone who top 20, top 30, top 40, top 50. He shouldn't even be on a list for someone to take a title off Kenny Omega right now while he's pretty much on the hottest streak. Even with bullshit shenanigans of doing the he doesn't call it the Unprettier anymore. What does he call it now?
Kill switch?
Kill switch, thank you. Doing the kill switch on a chair that Kenny Omega brought in. That whole ending was even stupid because it took a whole 2 minutes. Yeah, Don Callis can distract a referee in a match for 2 goddamn minutes. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm going to keep dropping F-bombs. I hate this. This is so bad. It is terrible. This is Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental
You
Champion
had
WrestleMania
that
booking.
marking you for wrestling this week.
Well, speaking of the Intercontinental Championship,
Thank you. Yeah, all right.
On
I'm ready for a
SmackDown-
segue. I'm ready for a transition
yes,
now.
we got to touch base on SmackDown before we sign off. And speaking of the Intercontinental title, we have a new champion. We have King Nakamura defeating Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship tonight.
I'm all for that.
It's Nakamura with a mid-card title. It's what he does.
A part of me wants to see Cesaro versus Nakamura at SummerSlam for the IC title. That is like, for me, Cloud 9. And then No Pillow will be able to cover my erection if Cesaro actually wins that Intercontinental Championship.
And as you politely put up, apparently we also got Baron Corbin. We also got Baron Corbin taking Big E's Money in the Bank briefcase. Shut up, fool.
No, right now, I don't know if anyone else is watching this. The screen is frozen on my end, and all it is just Jeff look of disgust. That's all. Okay,
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just
about Cesaro making me feel all dirty.
No, I got nothing to say to you about that. None at all. But you apparently have a lot more to say about Baron Corbin taking Big E's Money in the Bank briefcase. We're all assuming that this is going to be leading up to a match at SummerSlam. Is this a safe bet to say or what?
Yeah.
Probably, but it's going to start with him saying, "Oh, you want the briefcase back? Well, I'll give it back to you for a price of whatever, $1,000. What was it, $10,000 that he's been asking people?
$1,000 a pop.
$1,000 a pop. Yeah, that's going to continue just this pathetic loser Baron Corbin story, and
fun.
Which the Corbin story is fun, but Charlie made it perfectly clear before we started recording this show how much he actually really hated that. He didn't even he just heard about it. He's like, please tell me this isn't true. I was like, oh yeah, it is. Sorry, Charlie.
Sucks.
Whatever. It's Baron Corbin and Big E are known to have pretty good matches together if they actually do have a match, if anything, on the pre-show for SummerSlam, just to get the crowd going. Yippee! We're gonna buy it on Peacock. Yay! We're hopefully not gonna screw this up. Yay! Which is most likely gonna happen when we all
signal
watch it.
won't show up or break up. Yay!
during some, hopefully just the entrances.
God. For Big E again. Yay!
Oh.
All right, kids. All right. Well, that is the highlights from this past week on SmackDown. Anything else from SmackDown that you want to discuss? Anybody?
We want to talk about the Roman Reigns Cena promo.
The Roman Reigns Cena promo was freaking awesome. It's the only match that sold. It's the only match that's now have me looking forward to SummerSlam. At least when it comes to the build, I knowing how WWE pay-per-view shows have been in the past, this one could be it'll be a very good show. The matches are probably going to be phenomenal, but it's once again just that build is just makes me throw up in my mouth just thinking about it. Yeah. But I will say this promo between Cena and Roman Reigns, how pretty much it doesn't matter what John Cena does, it's Roman that has to make an impact because he's been WWE's biggest disappointment for the last 10 years. And I'm not gonna lie, it actually made me want to see Cena win the title for a 17th time, especially considering he's never won the Universal Championship. So it'll be fun to see him have his 17th title win be a title he's never won before, and to be added to the list of three superstars that have held both the Universal and WWE Championship of Roman, Seth, and four. I'm sorry, Roman, Seth, Bray, and Lesnar. So he'll be number 5. And yeah, will it happen? Probably not, but it also could also work in WWE's favor if he wins it, considering it'll be good for publicity. I mean, just promoting Suicide Squad more, being the number 1 movie, with the WWE Universal Champion promoting it. I don't know. I will say it now actually gave me some intrigue on the build to a match at SummerSlam.
Well, I'll tell you what, we still do have one more week of build until the big day itself. So I'm sure we're going to see quite a bit of ongoing shenanigans and final build as this goes on. And yes, we're most likely going to be seeing a Baron Corbin versus Big E match. But hey, those are our predictions and our feedback from this week in the world of professional wrestling. Now is the part of their show where we pitch it over to you, our fellow fans, our listening, wrestling, commentating audience, compatriots in the wrestling commentating game. We want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorites, the Twitter machine, starting with @ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And you can also join the conversation on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can I reach you?
You can reach me wishing the best with Keith Lee. Anyone else see that video that he posted?
Yes, I did. I'm glad he's doing better.
I'm really glad he's doing better.
What happened?
At the Avatar. Look it up. Look up his video. He basically just talks about the last since January.
Long story short, he got COVID, and a week later his doctors who were checking him out caught a heart issue.
Oh shit.
That was potentially fatal if left unchecked. So
oh my god.
Yeah, we're really glad he's doing well. At the Avatar.
Yes, Charlie, where can he reach you?
At Charlene.
And you can reach me being very glad that Keith Lee isn't dead at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. We're glad no more people are dead. But then again, you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all for predictions just in time for SummerSlam.